Now I'd like to look at the engine at 10. First thing to say is the engine lies at the heart of a lot of what you've seen from the server and the desktop this morning. So a lot of these new capabilities and the feature functions, they're available in the engine for developers to take control of when they're building their own custom applications. So the new features in the desktop are available for you as engine developers. Probably the two most common requests we get from engine developers, we want things faster, but we also want them simpler. And these are definitely common goals that we share with you, and we've been working hard at 10 to make that happen. We've got faster drawing. We saw that with John's demonstration, with the new base map layer technology. We've got faster installs. Typically, all of our installs across the board, engine, desktop, and server, they're about 30% quicker now than they used to be at 9.3.1. We've worked hard on improving the underlying technology there. But speed isn't just about raw performance. It's often about the user's perception of an application. If I start a geoprocessing process running, and it takes 15 seconds, and the whole application hangs for 15 seconds, it's busy doing work, and it's doing it quickly, but to the user, it's taking a long time because they're stopped from doing any of the other work. So the background geoprocessing will help you build applications that, to the user, feel faster, you feel more in control when you're using your application. So the perception of speed improves with the background multitasking that we've got going with geoprocessing. And we've worked on simplifying some of the APIs, not just providing the coarse-grained Python scripting, but looking at other areas of the software where we've had feedback from users and providing better, easier objects to work with to make you more productive. Finally, we've worked on licensing options for the engine. So you now have concurrent licensing for deploying solutions. You also have license borrowing, and this is for the desktop and the engine. You can borrow a license from a license server, disconnect from the network, take your machine out into the field for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, come back, check the license back in for another user to then use it and borrow it from the license server. I'd like to introduce Mary Harvey now, who's going to give us a demonstration of some of these new capabilities when seen within an engine application. Mary.
Thanks, Ian. Okay, so I've built a really simple engine application just to illustrate 3 of these new features that have come out at 10. And I want to talk about the new mapping improvements. I want to look at background geoprocessing and Python scripting. So we just have a talk about the mapping improvements at the moment. So in Engine, we're using the map control, which contains the map. And the map is the same map that you have in desktop. So the improvements that John talked about earlier in terms of saving time and speed, we still get good performant mapping because we're using that same map that the desktop system's using. So you can see as I pan the map as well, I don't have any white space. Now that's great from a user's perspective. And I've managed to achieve that because I've authored the layers as a base map layer in my MXD. So that's the sort of improvements in mapping. In terms of background geoprocessing, I'm going to just have a look at this tool up here. I've got a tool to go and select a house. So I'll go and select this building down here. And you can see it's shown a picture on the map, on the display. And that picture is an attachment in the geodatabase. So the polygon has an attachment, which is the photo, which is stored in the geodatabase. So that's great, and that's new at 10. In terms of the background geoprocessing itself, though, I want to go and get some attributes from the database, but I also want to go and run a spatial query to find the nearest school and grocery shop to this house. So I'm just going to click on this button, and it's running in the background. The spatial query is running in the background. That means that when I go to my map, it still performs correctly. So the map control is still responsive, even though the geoprocessing is happening in the background. So let's go and have a look at the code behind this detail button so you can see how to code that up yourself. I'm just going to bring up ArcObjects. And I was running that spatial query using the geoprocessor. So the 3 critical steps are to go and add my toolbox to the geoprocessor that I already created, set up the parameters, and then go and execute the tool to run the geoprocessing, to run the spatial analysis. And in this case, I'm running a Python script. And at 10, we've now got a new method called execute async, which means we can asynchronously run in the background any scripts. So that geoprocessing task was being run in the background. And this execute async follows the same .NET programming pattern for other asynchronous tasks. So that should be familiar to you as a .NET programmer. Let's go and head off back to the application. I just want to show you one last thing in terms of Python scripting. If I click on this PDF button, it's going to take the layout of the MXD and place it into a PDF file. So again, I just want to go and show you that script that's running. It's quite small. If you wrote the ArcObjects to perform that, it would be a bit longer. So the first thing you need to do is go and import the ArcPy module into the script. Then go and get the parameters from ArcObjects, again, a Python command. Go and get the map document itself and export the layout to a PDF file. And that's all that's required. So that's quite short and very concise. And as Jeff said earlier, when he was talking about Python, he mentioned there's lots of new functionality available at 10 in Python. And I'd really strongly encourage you to go and look at that to make your code simpler and more powerful. Okay, thanks, Ewan.
Thanks, Mary. It's a very simple application, but it illustrated some really powerful aspects of the system of integrating your scripting with your ArcObjects code. When you're thinking about building a solution, it's not a all or nothing. It's not all ArcObjects or all scripting. You can mix and match to pick the best bits from each technology to build the best solution for your users.